Not all habits are created equally. Some of them are helpful in moving us in the direction we want to go, while others mow down our progress faster than a freight train. But I don't think it's helpful to look at habits as either inherently good or bad. No, not even smoking or chewing your fingernails. Sure, those habits aren't exactly healthy, hygienic, or very pleasant, but everything that we do is for a reason. Whether you realize it or not, deep beneath the surface, you initially picked up one of these habits because it benefited you in some way, whether it was to calm you down or to distract you from a painful event. Thinking about habits as being either good or bad can just lead to more guilt and negative self-talk, which can be a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're more likely to fall off the wagon because you feel bad about yourself. A better way to look at habits is to think of them as either helpful or unhelpful in moving you closer to the type of life you want. For example, if your goal is to complete an Ironman, eating junk food and smoking isn't really going to be helpful in moving you towards your goal. Introducing helpful new habits and breaking unhelpful old ones requires two slightly different approaches. In this lesson, we're going to walk through a simple process for introducing new habits and how to make them really sticky. So if you're taking this course because you want to start something new, whether it's exercising, writing a book, or meditating, pay close attention. In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg first introduced the idea of the habit loop. It turns out that almost all habits work their way through the same steps every time. It all starts with a cue. This is what triggers the behavior. It could be anything from the time of day to a reminder in your environment. Let's say your office has a plate of cookies in the kitchen every day. Seeing these cookies is your cue. Then craving. This is the emotional drive that makes the behavior irresistible. When you see that plate of cookies, all of these alarm bells start ringing in your head. You might even start salivating as you imagine eating one of those delicious treats. And then there's the response. This is what we typically call a habit. It's the act of reading, meditating, or exercising, or biting into a delicious cookie. And finally, reward. This is the reason that we do the habit in the first place. It might be the euphoric feeling from the runner's high you get, or the sweet hit of sugar from the cookie. These habit loops are running with almost every behavior, whether we know it or not. And so what we want to do is learn how to program these loops to our advantage. Instead of simply letting these habits form in the background, how do we take control of the steering wheel to move our lives in the direction that we want? One really powerful framework we can use is what author James Clear calls the 4 laws of behavior change. Those 4 laws are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. As you can see, each of these laws matches directly with a step on the habit loop. How can you make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying? Let's look at how we might apply this to the habit of drinking 8 glasses of water a day. To make your cue obvious, you could keep a bright colored water bottle on your desk. To make the craving attractive, you could add in fruit slices to make it more tasty. To make your response easy, you could download a water reminder app to remind you to drink every hour. And to make your reward satisfying, you could mark it off on your simple habit tracker. And now you're one step closer to winning a prize. It's important to note that this won't always work out perfectly. The cue and response are usually the easiest to figure out, but it might take a little bit of creativity to get your response and reward down pat. And don't worry if you're drawing a blank completely. The big idea here is to get more intentional with how you look at your habits so you can stop leaving so much up to chance. Now head to exercise 7 in your workbook to think about the habit that you're building and to create your very own habit loop. Once you get this in place, you can start to stack the deck in your favor to make habit change feel more effortless.